If I told you that something as sweet and innocent as chocolate could secretly raise your risk of a life-threatening stroke, would you believe me? Among seniors, stroke is still one of the top causes of long-term disability. We usually imagine smoking, high blood pressure, or stress as the culprits. But very few people ever look at the chocolate bars, cookies, or creamy desserts they enjoy each day. And that's exactly where the hidden danger lies. I still remember Mrs. Linda, a 70-year-old grandmother who came to me after suffering a mild stroke. She laughed and said, "Doctor, all I did was spoil myself with my favorite sweets." But when we looked closer, we found that the kind of chocolate she ate every night was silently hardening her arteries and pushing her blood pressure up, without her even realizing it. And Linda's story is far from unique. So today, I want us to sit down together and uncover 7 common types of chocolate that may look delicious but quietly increase your stroke risk. But before we start, let me ask you, do you believe chocolate could actually harm your brain health? Or do you think it's just a food myth? Type 1 if you suspect there's some truth, or type 0 if you think it's impossible. We read and replied to every single comment because your voice matters here. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to Healthy Life Daily so you never miss the health secrets that could protect you or your loved ones. 1. Milk chocolate. Milk chocolate feels like comfort. It melts smoothly, brings back childhood memories, and often shows up as a little treat after dinner. But behind that sweetness hides a dangerous mix of sugar and milk fat that your body simply cannot ignore. When you eat milk chocolate, the high sugar content spikes your blood glucose levels. At the same time, the saturated fats from milk raise your LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol that sticks to your artery walls. Research from the American Heart Association shows that seniors who consume diets rich in added sugar and saturated fat face up to a 23% higher risk of stroke than those who limit them. So what seems like a harmless bar actually triggers a chain reaction: sticky cholesterol deposits, rising blood pressure, and stiff, fragile arteries. Take Robert, a 60-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. Every night, he sat in his armchair with a glass of milk and a few squares of milk chocolate. It seemed like nothing. But over the years, his blood pressure crept upward, his doctor warned him about prediabetes, and one morning he woke with weakness on his left side. It was a minor stroke. Robert was stunned. He thought the real danger came from fast food or smoking, not from candy. His recovery went well, but it forced him to rethink his daily habits. So, what can we learn from Robert's story? If you enjoy chocolate, switch from milk chocolate to a small piece of dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa. Dark chocolate naturally contains less sugar and more flavonoids, which support healthy blood vessels. Even then, moderation matters. Just 1 ounce is enough to satisfy a craving without harming your arteries. And if milk chocolate already worries you, just wait until you hear what's hidden inside white chocolate. That surprise might shock you even more. 2. White chocolate. White chocolate looks elegant, creamy, and smooth, almost like a dessert meant for special occasions. But here's the surprising truth: it isn't really chocolate at all. Unlike dark or milk chocolate, it contains no cocoa solids, which means it completely lacks the natural flavonoids that help protect your blood vessels. What you're really eating is cocoa butter, sugar, and milk fat. That combination may taste indulgent, but it can quietly thicken your blood and raise triglycerides, fats that circulate in your bloodstream. Studies published in the journal Stroke show that high triglyceride levels are strongly linked with blood clots, the very trigger behind most ischemic strokes. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 60-year-old widow from Florida. She adored white chocolate truffles and bought them regularly as her little grocery store treat. She never smoked, stayed fairly active, and thought her risk was low. But her yearly blood work showed sky-high triglycerides. She was shocked, until her doctor pointed to her nightly habit of finishing off a few white chocolates. Within months, Margaret began experiencing dizzy spells that turned out to be mini-strokes. It was a frightening wake-up call. So, what's the better choice? If you want a creamy dessert, Try a bowl of Greek yogurt with fresh berries and a sprinkle of unsweetened cocoa powder. You'll get the same indulgent feel, but with protein, antioxidants, and much less sugar. And if you still crave chocolate, remember, dark chocolate offers protective compounds that white chocolate simply cannot provide. 3. Caramel or nougat-filled chocolates. Caramel-filled or nougat-packed chocolates like Snickers, Milky Way, or Three Musketeers might feel like the perfect pick-me-up when your energy dips. They're chewy, sweet, and comforting. But most people don't realize this mix of corn syrup, sugar, and hydrogenated fats is one of the most harmful combinations for your body. The high glycemic load from corn syrup spikes your blood sugar, while trans fats damage blood vessels and spark inflammation. According to the CDC, people who consume diets high in added sugars and trans fats have far higher rates of insulin resistance, a condition that sets the stage for type 2 diabetes and doubles the risk of stroke. Consider Daniel, a 60-year-old retired bus driver from Michigan. He kept candy bars in his glove compartment, saying they gave him quick energy during long drives. At first, it seemed harmless, just a snack to stay awake. But years of daily indulgence led to weight gain, fatigue, and eventually type 2 diabetes. One winter morning, he collapsed with slurred speech and weakness in his arm. It was a stroke caused by arteries that had been narrowing silently for years. Daniel later admitted, "I thought candy was for kids. I never dreamed it could take away my health." So, what's the healthier swap? If you need a quick snack, grab a handful of unsalted nuts with a few raisins or apple slices. You'll get steady energy, blood sugar stability, and none of the artery-clogging fats. And if you still crave chocolate, reach for a small square of dark chocolate instead of a candy bar layered with caramel or nougat. 4. Cream-filled chocolates. Cream-filled chocolates, whether they're truffles or soft fudge centers, look fancy, rich, and indulgent. They melt in your mouth with sweetness that feels like a treat. But beneath that creamy texture is a heavy mix of cream, condensed milk, and butter, ingredients packed with saturated fats. When eaten often, these fats thicken your blood, raise blood pressure, and speed up plaque buildup inside your arteries. Once plaques harden, they can rupture and block blood flow to the brain. That's how many strokes begin, quietly, then suddenly devastating. Harvard researchers found that diets high in saturated fats raise the risk of cardiovascular events, including strokes, by up to 21% in older adults. And it's not just lab results, it's real life. Imagine trying to pump syrup through a thin straw. That's what your circulation feels like when your diet is heavy in saturated fats. Cream-filled chocolates may look harmless in a gift box, but for seniors, each bite adds invisible stress to the circulatory system. So, what's the better choice? If you crave something creamy, try a frozen banana blended with a spoonful of natural peanut butter. It's smooth, sweet, and satisfying, but with fiber and healthy fats that protect rather than harm. And if you still want chocolate, a small piece of dark chocolate is far safer than a cream-filled piece. Before we move on, let me ask you, do you still see cream-filled chocolates as innocent, or do you now think they hide a serious risk? Type 1 if you believe they're harmful, or 0 if you're still not convinced. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to Healthy Life Daily so you won't miss the tips that protect your heart and brain every single day. 5. Chocolate-covered cookies and candies. Think of Kit Kat, Twix, or Oreos coated in chocolate. They look playful, fun, and harmless, the kind of snack you share at a movie night or grab from a candy bowl at work. But what seems lighthearted on the outside hides a dangerous mix of refined flour, hydrogenated oils, and sugar on the inside. The refined flour breaks down almost instantly into glucose, spiking your blood sugar. The hydrogenated oils, used to make these snacks last longer, are packed with trans fats that inflame and stiffen blood vessels. And the sugar load is so heavy that it fuels belly fat and metabolic syndrome, a condition strongly tied to poor circulation and blood clot formation. According to the National Institutes of Health, metabolic syndrome doubles the risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke in older adults. What makes this combination especially harmful is how it attacks on multiple fronts. Blood sugar spikes damage artery linings. Excess belly fat releases inflammatory chemicals that strain the heart and brain. Over time, the blood grows thicker, harder to flow, and far more prone to clots. And those clots, once they break loose, can travel upward and block a brain vessel, triggering a sudden, disabling stroke. The sad irony is that these treats are often sold as fun-sized or light, tricking people into thinking small portions are safe. But even regular small doses quietly add up, taking a toll. So, what's the smarter swap? Instead of a chocolate-coated cookie, enjoy a square of dark chocolate with a handful of almonds or walnuts. You'll still get the crunch, the sweetness, and a dose of healthy fats that help blood vessels relax instead of tighten. Another great choice is dipping fresh strawberries in a thin layer of melted dark chocolate, sweet, satisfying, and packed with antioxidants. 6. Hot chocolate mixes. Few things feel more comforting than a warm cup of hot chocolate on a chilly evening. Many see it as harmless, even wholesome. But the instant mixes stacked on supermarket shelves are loaded with sugar and powdered milk fats. When seniors drink these mixes before bed, blood sugar shoots up. And as the body rests, that excess sugar thickens the blood. During sleep, circulation naturally slows, which makes sticky, sugar-thickened blood more likely to clot. Research from the American Stroke Association shows strokes that strike during the night or early morning are especially common in older adults, and often linked to exactly this kind of metabolic stress. Take John, a 70-year-old retiree from Illinois. For years, he ended his nights with a steaming mug of instant hot chocolate, convinced it helped him sleep. But over time, his cholesterol climbed, his blood pressure worsened, and one winter morning, he didn't wake up as usual. He had suffered a stroke in his sleep. Thankfully, he survived, but his family was stunned to learn that his nightly drink had quietly contributed to his health crisis. John later admitted, "I thought it was comfort. I never dreamed it could put me in the hospital." So, what's a safer choice? Warm up a glass of unsweetened almond milk with a teaspoon of pure cocoa powder and just a touch of honey. It delivers the soothing flavor without the sugar overload, while still giving you the antioxidants found in real cocoa. Now let me ask you, do you still see bedtime hot chocolate as harmless? Or do you now suspect it could be risky? Type 1 if you believe it can be harmful, or 0 if you think it's safe. And remember, subscribe to Healthy Life Daily so you won't miss the everyday habits that protect your brain and heart. 7. Chocolate-covered ice cream bars. On a hot day, nothing looks more tempting than a chocolate-covered ice cream bar. Magnum, Dove, Klondike, you name it. Cold, creamy, and sweet, they deliver instant pleasure. But inside that summer indulgence lies a dangerous combo: high-fat ice cream wrapped in a thick layer of sugary chocolate. The saturated fat from the ice cream raises LDL cholesterol, while the sugar overload spikes blood glucose. On top of that, the extreme cold causes your blood vessels to tighten temporarily, restricting circulation. Combine that with thicker, fattier blood, and you've created the perfect setup for a clot or sudden vessel spasm in the brain. The Cleveland Clinic reports that cold, high-fat desserts can trigger vascular changes within minutes, especially in seniors with existing risks. Evelyn, a 60-year-old grandmother from California, often rewarded herself with a chocolate-covered ice cream bar after gardening or playing with her grandchildren. At first, it seemed innocent. But months of regular indulgence led to sudden headaches and blurry vision. A medical exam revealed narrowed blood vessels in her brain. One night, she suffered a small stroke. Thankfully, she recovered, but Evelyn admitted she never once suspected her ice cream habit could play such a dangerous role. So, what's the better option? On warm afternoons, freeze banana or grape slices and dip them lightly in melted dark chocolate. You'll get the cold, sweet bite with fiber and antioxidants, minus the artery stress. Even better, blend frozen berries with plain yogurt for a creamy, cooling dessert that actively supports vascular health. The bigger picture. Now that we've uncovered all 7 types of chocolate that can silently raise stroke risk, let's wrap it up with the bigger lesson. Your health depends more on your daily lifestyle than on any single snack. We've looked at milk chocolate loaded with sugar, white chocolate stripped of protective cocoa, candy bars stuffed with caramel, nougat, or cream, cookies coated in chocolate, hot chocolate before bed, and even cold chocolate-dipped ice cream bars. Each treat hides its own trap, quietly reshaping how your blood flows and how your arteries age. But here's the hopeful truth. Your health is not defined by a single indulgence. It's shaped by daily choices. Picking dark chocolate in moderation, adding more fruits, nuts, and whole foods, staying physically active, and monitoring your blood pressure regularly. These are the habits that protect your heart and brain far more than any sweet treat ever could. So, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever been surprised by how a harmless snack affected your health? Share your story in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you found today's talk helpful, hit that subscribe button on Healthy Life Daily so you never miss the simple, everyday habits that can keep you strong and independent for years to come.